Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and we had quite the week here. This is Killian Plastics Talk Football Tactics. I'm here with Darren,
Hello.
and we were not going to be here with Gabe today, who's usually here. Why? Because he just didn't show up. So, Gabe, if you're in the chat, really appreciate them, and everyone leave hate comments to Gabe. But yeah, what an episode we have to talk about because we got the international break ending. We can talk about the La Liga, the Premier League, just overall club football. But we got a majority of the teams that will be playing in the 2026 World Cup and quite the scenes in the European qualifiers. For example,
That is unbelievable. He scored a hat trick, and right at the death, Ireland have done it.
and wow, we talked about it. And guess who said on the last episode, the Ireland, we're beating Portugal? This man right here. And guess what happened? In 1 week, Ireland beat Portugal 2-0, and they came back to beat Hungary in Budapest 3-2. And Troy Parrott scored every single one of them, 5 goals. What I did say was, do you believe in miracles? That's what I said before the game. Because I thought that was what's going to be needed. And I guess I got one because those two huge wins has now made it possible for Ireland to make it in the World Cup. Probably the biggest shock of this international break. And they'll be in the playoffs, who will see who they end up playing. But yeah, I feel like a lot of the stuff so far for this World Cup, a majority of teams are kind of straightforward. Everyone expected them to an extent. But there's going to be a few shocks, such as we can talk about the team being Norway and Erling Haaland, who is on fire still, and he's been on fire this entire season. He's been incredible. And Norway, they qualified for their first World Cup in a long time, That's because of Erling Haaland and the other players. So they were in a group with Italy. Italy have now not qualified directly for the World Cup in 3 consecutive tries. I mean, there's a still chance that they make the World Cup. They got to go through the playoff route. But for a country who is got a huge footballing history, who's won multiple World Cups, they're struggling. In Norway, they destroyed them. It was 4-1 convincingly. And the Italy manager, Gennaro Gattuso, he's been complaining, saying it's too difficult to qualify in Europe. Personally, maybe a little bit, but at the same time, you're Italy. You guys are supposed to be one of the big dogs. I don't think that excuse works if you're in Italy. Maybe if you're in Ireland or even a Scotland or I don't know, a Bosnia, sure, but we really can't be comparing Italy to these teams. You guys should be qualifying.
Yeah, just I like the whole Mancini Holland fight. That whole game. I said Mancini pulled Holland's what do you that ponytail?
Man buns sort
His
of thing.
man bun ponytail, and Holland was not very happy, and he made sure it was his mission the rest of the game to absolutely truck Mancini. And as you mentioned, just even with Italy, like even with it being hard for European teams to qualify, still, as you mentioned, they're Italy. They have far superior talent than other nations, and just it's just too. It's been too many years, man. Like it's not even the coach's problem anymore because it's just more like what's going on with the player quality.
I mean, the thing with Italy was, I guess the first one they missed out to, they lost to Sweden, which honestly, Sweden were a decent side in that World Cup. They got knocked out by England in 2018. That was the World Cup that Italy missed out on because Sweden beat them. Sweden were a decent side. So, I mean, that was absolute outrage. Like, it was going insane that Italy missed out on a World Cup. And then they missed out on the next one. They might miss out on this one too, which is crazy to think about. The last one, though, losing to North Macedonia in the playoffs, that was unacceptable. Like, I can understand the outrage from them on that one. That one's insane. But yeah, this one we'll see who they end up getting. You have to win 2 separate rounds in the playoffs, a semifinal and a final. So let's see if they fail. The pressure is going to be insane on Italy's hands. That's the one thing I will say, but they should still be able to do it. But I'm just going to read out a list of all the teams who have qualified for this World Cup. And obviously, there's a few more that are still yet to happen. But so far, we have the 3 hosts, obviously being the US, Mexico, and Canada. Then we got from Asia, we got Japan, Iran, Uzbekistan, big up Kusanov, who got a crazy red card.
Proper pro clubs challenge there.
Jordan, South Korea, Heung-min Song, Australia, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, who are back in after being the host for the last one. Argentina, the world champions, no surprise there. Ecuador, Brazil, Uruguay, Colombia, Paraguay, Morocco, who were really good at the last World Cup, Tunisia, Egypt with Mo Salah and Marmoush, Algeria, Ghana, Cape Verde, who was an absolute shock that they qualify for a World Cup. I don't think anyone expected it, but it's great to see nations who don't usually qualify. Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, South Africa, who I haven't remembered them being in one since maybe the one they hosted in 2010. That's going to be cool to see. England, boo. New Zealand, France, Croatia, those teams you'll expect. Portugal, Norway, as we mentioned, Germany, Austria, who I think is the first one since 98. I don't know, but it's been a while, which is kind of surprising because when you think of Austria in the recent Euro tournaments, I thought they've done decent. Like they got decent players, Arnautovic, David Alaba. There's probably a couple more of them.
Sabitzer.
They got a decent squad. Belgium, no surprise there. Netherlands, who could maybe be a dark horse for this World Cup. I mean, I've heard people saying how strong their defense and midfield is. It's just they don't have that super clinical striker. Spain, one of the favorites with their recent Euros win. Switzerland, always a solid team in all the competitions. Haiti, which has been a long time since I think they've only ever qualified once. I mean, a pretty small nation. Panama and Curacao. So we got some interesting teams here. Interesting teams that we haven't seen in either a while or just not at all. So that's what we love about the sport, especially with them expanding the World Cup. It's now bigger than years before. So it kind of makes sense why some of these teams have made it when they haven't already. But yeah, there's still some more to be decided between the European playoffs, where we got different pots seeded as pot 1, pot 2, pot 3, pot 4. Pot 4 being the teams who qualify because they're in Nations League place, which I personally fully disagree with because Sweden came bottom of their group. I don't think that they won a single game and they're somehow still in a chance of making the World Cup. I just think that's not fair. Hopefully they don't. I don't think any of the teams in the Nations League pot 4 should be able to make it. Maybe this is my incredible bias because Ireland are in the playoffs as a pot 3 team. But yeah, I don't think the pot 4 team should be allowed to.
I think it's their way of balancing out how easy it is to qualify in South America with like the whole pot 4 playoff run. Because like I was looking on Twitter, there were we had some fans outraged. I think there were Hungarians. They were outraged how certain South American teams can lose 10 plus games yet still be able to qualify for the World Cup. But that's just simply about the sheer amount of games that they play in qualies.
It's also about South America is a continent with a lot fewer countries. So South American football is very high quality, yes, because they got a lot of really strong countries. But the thing is, compared to Europe, in these European groups, there's like 4 to 5 teams in each group. You can barely make just about 2 groups of that for South America. So just number-wise, Europe's going to be more difficult. You got more countries, but that also means that you're going to play some countries who are a lot worse than the quality of like South America. You're going to play teams like San Marino, who have been doing well recently, funnily enough, but they had gone decades without winning a single game. They're doing better now. Fair play to them. But there's a lot of countries in Europe who simply the big teams destroy. Like Portugal during the break, they won 9-1, which kind of puts into context how on earth did Ireland lose to them when Ireland were able to beat Portugal 2-0 and Ireland lost to Armenia, but Portugal beat Armenia 9-1. I don't know. I really don't know. But honestly, positivity is what's going on at the moment for me. But yeah, South America, big nations and historic nations too. So I don't know. The thing is, if it's going to be easier for European teams to qualify, then you're just going to add more European teams. And the thing with that is, Europe already has the most amount of countries that go to the World Cup, which makes sense due to the amount of countries there is in Europe. But you kind of want to include some from every. Gattuso, the Italian manager, was complaining, saying that if you're an African team or South American team, it's easy. It's the World Cup. There's got to be teams from all the different continents. I guess it's got to be. You can't have a World Cup filled with 3/4 of it being European teams. Just play the Euros at that point, which we have, and it's every 4 years, just like the World Cup.
And Italy still disappoints.
Well, in the World Cup, at least they won the Euros recently. But yeah, I don't know. We'll
Let's
see
not
if they're
say
able
recently.
to. 2021 is kind of recently. I mean, in the terms of the bigger scope of international football, when there's only a World Cup every 4 years and a Euros every 4 years and a Copa America usually every 4 years. I know they did some stuff during the last decade, but it's different. Club football, you have going on every year, a different winner for Champions League, every domestic league. International football, it's not on as much. And the big tournaments, they're on occasion, and that's what makes them so special and so rare. So yeah, I'd say I think it's not the last Euros, it's the years before that. I think that's fairly recent. I'm gonna say that's fairly recent. But yeah, we'll see. Honestly, I think it'd be funny if Italy don't make it.
Yeah.
I think it would, especially all those Italian Americans who are gonna be trying to root for Italy. Uh,
Antonio.
Yeah, he's not going to watch, so I don't know why we're shouting him out. But yeah, no, there's going to be a lot of Italian Americans who think they're extremely Italian, um, and then all the Italians who want to come over to visit. And then I think the Italians don't necessarily love the Italian Americans. I think that's true because
think that's true.
they're like, oh, why are you doing this to your pizza and your pasta? It's supposed to be made like this. That's the proper Italian way. That was bad. But Italian food's really good. So you know what? Maybe they deserve to make it because they make good food. I don't know, but we'll see. But up to Ireland, that's all that matters. As long as Ireland qualify, I don't care. Anyone else can. But we'll have to see because there's a chance Ireland and Italy could still play. And if that happens, yeah, Italy should be the best team left in the playoffs. That would be pretty worrying. But who knows? Who knows? But other games internationally, America, the country we're in right now, the country you're probably listening from, they won 5-1 against Uruguay. I don't think many people expected that. It was a really good win, especially with a lot of stuff going on with the USA national team being Pochettino's changing up the teams. He's using players that aren't actually going to play at the World Cup, people are saying. But he's playing not necessarily he's not necessarily playing the United States' strongest lineups. Like, you're not looking at it and it's all the players you would have seen from previous World Cups. There's other names, and you're like, oh, well, this guy's not going to play when the World Cup comes around. But they're doing good, so maybe they are. Who knows? It's a different perspective when you have someone like Pochettino, who is mostly a club manager. So those club managers probably have a different perspective on things than your typical international manager. So who knows? Looking forward to see what the United States can do. And, this is a big tournament because the whole point and purpose of this is to grow how big soccer is in America. And even though it already is pretty big, because the thing about America, whatever you say, it's a country built on immigrants.
Yeah.
And even though a lot of people don't like immigrants, that's how the country started. And that's how it should always be. So you got immigrants from all over the world, all uniting as one to make one nation. And a lot of those immigrants are from soccer countries. So that's why the sport is big. It'll continue to grow. It's just about reaching those younger Americans who want to grow up playing basketball, American football. Go play soccer. Go try it out. Go have some fun. Go watch soccer on TV. Fall in love with the sport. And if that happens, that's only going to mean that American talent's going to get better. You'll have a bigger pool of players to range from, and who knows? America could one day become a team that competes for a World Cup or something. You never know. It's a huge country. Definitely possible. Definitely is. Just to get other international games, I know in Africa, we'll talk about Africa for a second. I don't have the biggest pool of knowledge on the African games, but Nigeria missed out, which was an absolute shock. I think they've only ever missed out on 3 World Cups before.
That was right after their extra time win as well, too.
Yeah, yeah. I think Osimhen scored twice in the extra time win too. But yeah, Nigeria missing out is quite the surprise. They're a pretty big footballing nation, not in terms of winning trophy World Cups and stuff, but they're one of the African powerhouses. Yeah, pretty surprising there that Nigeria missed out, especially when you're looking at countries like Cape Verde um, qualifying. So, yeah. And Nigerians, they love their football. So they're absolutely devastated with that. Cameroon also missed out too, which another fairly big footballing nation in Africa. I mean, they've had star players like Samuel Eto'o, a lot of superstars. They got good players now, Cameroon too. They got some solid players.
Mbemo.
Yeah. They got a good team. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I watch a lot of African football. But from a player name basis, they look like they have player quality to go and win against some of these lower ended um African countries, which are just small populations and you wouldn't expect them to do much. So yeah, kind of a shock that both Nigeria and Cameroon did not qualify, but it's whatever is deserved. And I guess on a sour note for them, they could always be upset about missing out on the World Cup. But in Africa, they do have the Cup of Nations going on not too long from now, maybe in a month and a half. So they can make up for that by possibly winning the African Cup of Nations, also known as AFCON. I guess that could be a bonus, but I wonder how much that plays into the way they play in AFCON. Like, I'm assuming if a country misses out on making the World Cup and then they play in AFCON, maybe the players are like kind of on a they're on the low and they're feeling upset and they might not play as well. Or maybe it'll be something like, oh, we missed out. We need to do really good. Who knows? But we'll see. But an impact of AFCON, which we're going to shift gears into club football, which is back this weekend, is the fact that there's going to be a good few players going off to AFCON from teams in the La Liga, the Premier League, stuff like that. And they're going to be missing out on playing for their Premier League teams and Champions League teams. So we'll see. I mean, for instance, Mo Salah, one of the most well-known players in the world, he's going to be leaving Liverpool for a few weeks to go play in the African Cup of Nations. So how will that impact Liverpool? Who knows? But we don't really know, especially since Salah hasn't been playing recently. But moving over, we'll talk about La Liga a bit because Gabe isn't here. He would be, but he's not. So we can talk about a big game of La Liga coming up, being Athletic Bilbao versus Barcelona. And if Gabe was here right now, he'd be talking about Nico Williams and Athletic being able to beat Barcelona and how they're going to win. But he's not. So the floor is all to the Barcelona man.
Well, just going off just the Nico Williams hate train, I don't think he's going to be ready for what he's going to experience in the new Spotify Camp Nou. Like I said, the stadium has finally been finished after 2.5 years, and we are back in there this Sunday, and I don't think Nico Williams is prepared for the boo fest he will receive for his antics that he pulled this summer. As for the prediction, I'm going to go with I'm going to back my team, and I always predicted a Barcelona win. But this year, I'm going to also back Barcelona, but I'm going to go with Dylan's prediction of Barcelona winning 4-1. Our whole team should be pretty much back fit. Rafinha has a go-ahead green light. Ewan Garcia has the green light. Yamal green light. Pedri is still, like I say, like 2 weeks away. I wouldn't want to rush him either, but I think a Barcelona win pretty easily. And I think we'll be fine. Like I said, I wouldn't risk Rafinha from the start. I would incorporate Rafinha in the second half. I would back Rashford since he's been our most informed player this year and just go from there.
Interesting. I mean, The question is, do I rage bait a little bit? Maybe, but honestly, I think my rage bait is just going to be my actual take on the game. I don't think Athletic are that good of a team. Every time I've watched them against a big team, they always seem to lose, and I think Barcelona's going to beat them. I really do. I think Barcelona, they're getting some players back, and Barcelona at their best are still one of the best teams in the world. No surprise about that based off player quality and player level. I think they'll win. I think they'll win. I don't know what score. Maybe I'd say something like 4-1 Barca. I don't know. But I always have a soft spot for Barcelona. Messi's one of my favorite ever players, so I don't think anyone watched Barcelona playing that beautiful football. And unless you liked Ronaldo or supported Madrid or had any sort of hatred toward Barcelona, I think everyone kind of did enjoy watching them play and always wants to see Barcelona as one of the big teams up there in the world. And the question is for Barcelona, will they get their form back on their track, be able to compete in La Liga and maybe the Champions League? It should be. But only time will tell. Only time will tell.
I think as long as Ronald Araujo does not start this game, just going off of the international break again, the USA Uruguay game, Ronald Araujo got absolutely sent by an MLS level fullback, and that fullback finished it top corner with his weak foot. So ideally, Araujo does not start this game. Ideally, Kunde also doesn't start this game, but we'll see. We'll see what Flick is going to go for, but I always back his judgment.
We will see indeed. Real Madrid, how do you think they're going to? Do you think they'll get a win this weekend? Because they came off of the international break with some controversy. There was a lot of stuff about Vinicius Jr. and other things.
I think they'll get back into the winning column. It all depends on their injuries. I know Valverde got diagnosed with an injury. I know Militao got diagnosed with an injury this morning. I think a thigh injury. Who else? Valverde, Mbappe, Militao. They got hit with a lot of injuries. Hit Barcelona and Real Madrid flipped this week for international break. But I think they'll get back in the win column. They have too much quality not to. And just maybe this allows Alonso to see more of his team, more of the bench, see how they could interchange, see how they can rotate, and just see how they can incorporate Vinny and Rodrigo, to be honest, back into the team.
Yeah, I do agree. I think Real Madrid, they got player quality. They have a lot of superstars to put it, and that will always be the case. I mean, Ronaldo, one of the biggest players ever. Pause. Quick little break. We're going to talk about Ronaldo because I don't know how we didn't talk about this. Yeah, Ronaldo. Nice of you to get that red card against Ireland. I really love it. Big ol' Sue. Then you get sent off. You miss the next game, and Portugal scored 9. So yeah, Ronaldo, good for you. Good for you. And if you come back to Ireland again, don't be going into the game saying you're going to be a good boy, quote unquote. That's what Ronaldo said. He said, I'm going to make sure I'm a good boy so I don't have the Ireland fans booing me. Then he goes, he elbows someone. He elbows Big Darrow O'Shea, goes over, does a crying face, crying, and gets himself sent off. And then all the Ireland fans behind the goal hitting him with the crying back. Go have that one, Ronaldo. Sue. But yeah, just talking on Ronaldo. Because if I didn't mention him, I would have been pretty stupid because it was a big talking point over the international break. But yeah, no, Madrid, I think they'll get back to winning ways, and I don't think there'll be any surprise there. I just really don't know who's going to win La Liga because I think both of you guys aren't at your full best. But I think the question is, you guys will both reach form. It's just who will kind of hit their stride quicker.
Yeah, it usually happens around December, January. You can really see who pulls away, and I think will be the same thing for this La Liga race. This race is a lot tighter than last year's, and just be the best man win. But we have a comment from Gabe. He says Nico William scores a hat trick on everything he loves.
Official statement. If you're anything that Gabriel Hughes loves, condolences because you will no longer be here. Yeah, so sorry to bring the bad news. Really sorry, but yeah, if you're something that Gabe Hughes loves, you won't be here anymore. So I really apologize for that.
We apologize.
We apologize. I'm very sorry that Gabe had to say that, but
It's just the classic
just-
injury excuse will be used again next week when they lose.
oh, you just know this. We didn't have any players; they were all injured. Nico Williams, he woke up with a headache.
He coughed 3 times.
Yeah, poor guy. But moving on, we're gonna go into the Premier League, which, yay, we've missed it. Predictions are back. We missed out on predictions because it's international break, but predictions are back. And I'm in the lead. We'll see if any comebacks can be made. We also got the chat open, so if you guys want to give any suggestions out to Darren or just want to put your own predictions, you can do that. You can do whatever you want. Go ahead. First off, we got Burnley at home to Chelsea. Early morning game.
Early morning game. Chelsea is pretty much fully fit now. I could be missing some like small injuries here and there. I think Chelsea wins. I don't think it'll be an easy game for them to win. I'm gonna say 3-1 Chelsea.
Interesting. This is gonna be a interesting game. Burnley are pretty good at home. They're pretty solid. Funnily enough, it's gonna be Burnley center back Steve versus Esteval. So I think the French Steve versus the Portuguese Steve. I think if you translate both of them, I might be wrong. But yeah, I don't know because I think Chelsea will win. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think they'll score 3 because Burnley are kind of defensively good. I'm going to go for 2-0. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of a straightforward answer. Nothing too crazy. I think 2-0 is pretty okay. Next, we got Bournemouth at home to West Ham, who kind of a flip form. Bournemouth's form has been pretty bad recently. And West Ham, they've picked up good form.
I'm gonna say a 1-1 draw here. Like I said, Bournemouth's form has kind of dipped, and going off the recent transfer news, it seems like Semenyo is also going to go out the door in January. He has a $60 million dollar release clause, and he allegedly has already requested a transfer. So let's see how that impacts Bournemouth's season and see where he goes. But I think it will be a 1-1 draw this game.
No, I think Bournemouth's going to win. I think they'll pick up form. They kind of have to start bouncing back. Plus, I don't think there's that many Bournemouth players that played during the international break, which I do think is a factor because how it works is these players get a break. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you get a week and a half off to rest, the coach can also train and put in new tactics, work with the players who are there, and it usually does help out a bit. So I think Bournemouth are going to win against West Ham. I think it's going to be 2-1. I think that's probably the safest result in football to predict. So I think that's not bad. Next, we got Brighton, who are at home to Brentford. Interesting game.
You said Brighton's at home?
Yes.
Brighton home, Brentford, I'd say on better form. It's a good. I'll let you take over for this prediction.
I think Brighton win. How much? 2. I don't know. I think they win 3-0. 3-0. I'm going for it.
Ooh. I think Brighton will win 2-1.
Okay. Yeah, Brighton at home, pretty good. If it was the other way around, then I'd maybe go for a draw. That's what I think. But I think Brighton will win. Fulham at home to Sunderland. Sunderland, incredible form recently. Yeah, but it is at the Cottage. So
we're gonna go big here. We're gonna go not big. We'll say a 2-0 Sunderland win.
Interesting. I'm gonna go for 1-1 draw, which I think that'd be 3 consecutive draws for Sunderland. But yeah, I mean Sunderland are pretty good. But I think Fulham are also decent. I think they'll have some players coming back soon. I wonder when that guy Kevin comes back. Don't know if I thought he got injured. He looked really promising on one of his first games when they signed him. But who knows? But yeah, I do think that Fulham will get a result. I think they'll get a result. Next, we got Liverpool at home to Nottingham Forest, who Liverpool, they went into their international break, a horrible result being wait, that was the last game of the break? City,
Yep.
damn. That feels like a long time ago. I don't know why. Time flies. But yeah, no, City simply outclassed Liverpool in that game. So Liverpool back at home. They're probably going to be looking to get a good result here against Forest. But Nottingham Forest, Sean Dyche, very defensive, very organized. They'll make it difficult, is what I'm guessing.
I'm gonna think goals are going to be scored in this game. I'm gonna go big for this one. I'm
Wow.
gonna go
That's
3-2
aim of the
Liverpool
sport,
win.
yeah. 3-2. 3-2.
Yeah.
A Sean Dyche away from home is interesting because he either gets extremely battered or like I think it's either Liverpool win like 4-0 or the game ends 1-0 or 2-0. I don't know. But I'm gonna go with I think Liverpool are gonna get a good result here. I think it's gonna be 4-0. I don't know why. I think Liverpool are gonna kind of bounce back with a point to prove. Anfield's gonna be rocking since they haven't played in a while. I think they're gonna get a big result here. I don't think this is gonna be something to judge Forest off of. I just think it's gonna be like that. I don't know. I just have the image of the fact that Burnley used to lose 5-0 every single time they played against Man City under Dyche. So I don't know why. They were never necessarily that good uh, away from home in these big games. So I don't know. I think that's
You
the
gotta
truth.
think though, that was a City on form. That was all like Liverpool's team, literally all of them played in the international break. So I think there'll be a little rundown.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be a 3-2, but I just wanted to go big. I could see like them causing issues with crosses and long balls. Liverpool's main issue right now. So
Oh, true. That's a good. You know what? I might have to change my mind because Sean Dyche football just hoof it long and be physical. That will be a problem for Liverpool. But I still think Liverpool will win. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 3-1 then. I'm changing it to 3-1. I'm changing it. All right. Wolves at home to Crystal Palace. Will Wolves win a game? I know it sounds incredible. It sounds impossible, but they've been really bad. But they've got a new coach. I think that's Rob Edwards from Luton Town. So we'll see. Crystal Palace are a good side.
I'm gonna say no. I think Palace has been very on and off this year, but they're still significantly better than Wolves, I'd say. So I'd say 2-0 Palace win.
I mean, you said Palace have been on and off. I just think that's how a team like Palace is supposed to be. You're not expecting that consistency to the level of like a team challenging for a title, but they're a good side with good players. So I think Palace will win because I keep saying that I keep saying that about West Ham. And West Ham actually did start to win. I don't have faith in Wolves. I think Palace will win 3-1 because Wolves are at home, so I think they'll get a goal. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully Mateta is boom, boom, boom in that room once again. Next, we got Newcastle are home to Manchester City. It's going to be a difficult game for City's point of view. I don't know.
Is Dan Burns still suspended?
I think so because that was the last game.
So, well, yeah, even more. I think there's going to be a 3-1 City win.
Really? Honestly, I think most teams would take a win in general, but I would be delighted with that result because Newcastle away from home are not easy place to go to. St. James's Park. All the big teams struggle against them. I think we lost last year against them. I think Anthony Gordon scored and Isak. I think we lost maybe 2-1 or so. That might be right. And then the year before we just about won because De Bruyne got subbed on and he put an absolute masterclass performance coming back from injury. It's difficult. I think it's gonna be. I'd maybe take a draw. If you were like, would you be happy with a draw? I'd maybe take it, but you know what? I'm a back us. I think we're on a good momentum, and a win would be pretty big. I think we're gonna win 2-1. I think 2-1. Hopefully that's right. Nets. Brooklyn? No. Next we got Leeds are at home to Aston Villa. Leeds have been decent at home. And Villa, they got European football, but that doesn't really matter since that hasn't happened in a bit.
Yeah, I think Villa wins. They are away from home, but it'll be since they are away from home, I don't think it'll be as convincing. I'm gonna predict a 1-0 win here. The question goes on, will Ollie Watkins finally get a goal contribution?
I don't know. And honestly, in my fantasy group, I offered someone a player for Ollie Watkins, and I got rejected. So I don't know. I was like, I kind of felt like Ollie Watkins would eventually score, but I'm not gonna complain. I didn't get him. I think, ooh, it'd be a good result for Leeds. It would, but Aston Villa, they're very unpredictable. I think that they destroyed Bournemouth recently, so I'm gonna go for Villa win. I think Villa are gonna win. Mm, I don't know. I'm gonna go for a 3-1 win. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3-1 win. Next, we got when the Spurs go marching in. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in. Oh, I want them to beat Arsenal when the Spurs go marching in. Come on, you Spurs. Please be Arsenal. They won't, but please be Arsenal. I will be so happy. If you guys want to stop, all I hear from Tottenham fans online is Arsenal cannot win the Premier League. They can't. Everyone must make sure they don't. Then do something about it. I'd really appreciate it. Arsenal are playing at home, and I don't know when the last time Tottenham got a result at the Emirates was. I think it might have been Dele Alli scoring 2 goals. If that's true, then that's an insane pull. Yeah, I don't know. But Tottenham in recent years have been horrible away to Arsenal, but it could be different. Thomas Frank's having Tottenham play really good away from home this season.
They are, but I still don't think it's enough to beat Arsenal. Arsenal did have a good amount of injuries in this international break. They
Gabriel
had,
Magalhaes.
yep, Gabriel injured his groin. He's out for a month. Doesn't help my fantasy team. They also had Timber go down with an injury. I don't know how serious that is. I think it was a knee injury. So
You think
I did, yes.
was
Yeah.
that on purpose?
No, but I realized it after.
It's going down. Yeah, like okay.
So Timber's also down. So they're gonna interchange that back line. I'm guessing Hincapie steps in, big up Ecuador, and Ben White step in. I don't think they'll keep it clean. They'll don't words done. All right. Anyways,
Miles Lewis Skelly. I mean, he could step in too because there's a lot of debate if he's better than Nico O'Reilly or not. Since O'Reilly got put in the England team.
mid.
Who?
Lewis Skelly.
Okay,
But
that one. Yeah.
I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet because of the amount of new faces in that back line. So I think Odegaard will cause some problems for Ben White, considering Ben White has not started consistently for Arsenal in a while.
Mm.
But I'm predicting a 3-1 Arsenal win. But before we move on, we must reference Brennan Johnson again. He scored an absolute screamer for Wales yesterday.
As long as he doesn't, if Wales get Ireland, because at the moment Ireland can play either Slovakia, Czechia, Wales, or Poland. That Wales beating North Macedonia like 7-1, that kind of scared me because we could get Wales. And the last World Cup campaign, no, was it? No, 2 ones. The one for Russia, we actually got Wales in our first game, and then we beat them away from home, which was a complete shock. James McLean. And then we lost 5-1 to Denmark. And there's a possibility that we get both Wales and Denmark. So that's just kind of PTSD. But Brennan Johnson, do something. Go at the back post and score against Arsenal. I would love it. But yeah, Tottenham. Have you even said a prediction, or have I?
I said 3-1 Arsenal win.
Okay. Wow, that's a good few goals. I think it's going to be. I'm going to go for 1-0 Arsenal win. 1-0. Arsenal pretty good defensively, and Tottenham have not looked like they're an incredible attacking side in some of the bigger games.
Richarlison's going to be starting because Randall broke his jaw. He's out for a while.
Put in Dane Scarlett. You know what?
Honestly, why not?
The last time Tottenham trusted a youngster who would be out on loan was a certain guy named, that's words, Harry Kane. And look where he is. He's one of the best players in the world. So what do you have to lose? It's better than Richarlison. Actually, Richarlison, please score. My bad. I feel bad. I'm not going to be a hater, unlike some of the other guys who are usually here. Him and the other one who we won't mention, which is why we're going to go on to the next game of someone who they always hate on, which is Beto. And Man United are playing against Everton in the last game of the weekend.
Well, I will say this game does suit a Beto, I'd say, because
Beto.
this one will probably just be Everton, a lot of cutbacks, a lot of hoofing the ball in, hoping that Beto could win over United's undersized defenders. Recently saw Euro get absolutely cooked on international duty. If Maguire is still injured, that plays a big toll. And I think United. I don't think United win this. I think they'll draw this. But United Everton is always a competitive game, I'd say. So I'd say I'm gonna predict a 1-1 draw.
Interesting. It is at Old Trafford, which I think makes a difference. We'll talk about the United strand because we love to mention him. Darren, I think you got a haircut recently, right?
Yes.
He didn't mention it on the show because he's not insecure. Unlike some of our other co-hosts, being Gabe, whose hair was absolutely perfect the last time on the show.
Yeah.
We could give a round of applause for Gabe's incredible haircut last time. But yeah, Darren got a haircut, maybe not to a level of greatness as Gabe's, because I don't think it gets better than that.
Doesn't.
But yeah, still a haircut, which is not what the United strand has got, and it won't be for a while because I think that reset, right? They have to get 5 in a row now because they drew 2 games. Honestly, if I was him, what I would have done was they have to win 5 games without losing, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I would have had, instead of a draw resetting it, a draw is kind of like a stop point.
Yeah.
Because any team winning 5 games in a row is pretty difficult. It is. Like, a lot of the big teams don't even do that. United are a big team. Are they a good team? That's up for interpretation. But I think United will win, sadly. I'm going to go with Beto. I'm going to go with a 2-0 United win. Actually, will they get a clean sheet? Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna go with, like I said, the 1-1. I'm gonna say Iliman Ndiaye will score.
Ooh, I'd like that. I would like
Ndiaye
that.
will score, and I'm gonna go with a Mason Mount goal.
Wow. MM7. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But that is it for the show, sadly.
Better than GH7.
Oh, yeah. Great joke. That is it for the show. I appreciate you guys all for watching. We had such a great international break. At least I did. Did we even mention Scotland? Big up Scotland. Skibede. McTominay bicycle. Kieran Tierney banger. And then a halfway line goal to end it off. Scotland finally make the World Cup. This is why we love international football, at least from the perspective of these smaller nations, because, like, who wants to be England? It's kind of just boring. You guys make it every time. No entertainment. But for an Ireland or a Scotland, absolute scenes. But I appreciate you guys for watching, and see you later. Bye. Do-do-do. 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 Is it off?
I don't know.
I don't think it is.
I
think we're still going.
If not, it's fine. Troy Parrott, Fanta card.
Troy Parrott is the best player in the world. Give him the Ballon d'Or. All good. I think we're still going, right?
I think so.
Troy Parrott, you are the best player ever.
No.
Troy Parrott, I love you. Troy Parrott. I'm just gonna keep saying Troy Parrott until we're done.
Did you see the SBC?
Yes, Troy Parrott.
Squad Builder Showdown.
Yes. Are we still live?
I think so.
We need a. We're done. We're done. Yeah, we're done. Troy Parrott, you are an absolute hero.
Tierno Berry.
Troy Parrott.
Kira Berry.
Troy